Hey, y'all. Oh, hey, y'all. What are we doing today? Well, we're doing art vlogs. What are art vlogs? It's kind of this, loose format that I've had a history in, where I just basically ramble over my drawing process. In contrast to Spot Thoughts, it's like I'm actually digging into my art process a little bit and kind of giving some useful tips here and there about, how I go about things. And yeah, I kind of did these in 2021. Like I said, I have a little bit of a history. And back then I was just really trying to understand video editing as a skill. So I really wasn't going for much, but I have all this branding. I got this art vlog branding. Here, I'll show you an example. And I've always found it fun to kind of just go off script and see what comes out, Whew, I'm trying not to breathe so hard, but goddamn is it hot in here. Okay, let me catch my breath here. Damn it, there's fur in my eye. Don't ask how it got there. Alright, let's just not meander. Maybe eventually I'll want to somehow do these in real time with you. There's a possibility that I can pull that off, though I don't know if I'm going to want to be in this costume while I'm drawing for hours on end. That's not going to be very fun for me. So here's what I'm drawing here. I mean, excuse my language. So I love comics. I love fantasy. I try to make that, apparent in my branding or whatnot. And one of the recent titles that I have been super into in the world of comics is Daughter of the Lilies, which is it's a fantasy comic. It's basically kind of a D&D affair where you have, the group of misfits type deal going on. I actually made a video going into all the common tropes of fantasy not too long ago, if you're interested in that, but there's gonna be a lot of that repeated here, so it's because I love it so much. This character's name is Thistle. She is the quintessential Daughter of the Lilies, I think. I've actually not finished the series, but I had to do a fan art because that's how into it I am. So throughout most of the story, her face isn't revealed, so this is kind of like a spoiler alert, but also who gives a shit? Hey, listen, it's all right because she's cute. Okay, all right. Hey, I don't know. Let's talk about the composition I decided to go for here. So it's gonna be one of those movie poster ideas where you have different action poses, and you got close-up portrait, and it's blended together. You know what I'm trying to say? So I decided to start with the close-up pose of the character Thistle here, because I'm more comfortable with faces than I am dynamic poses, even though the bulk of my art tries to tackle dynamic poses, or at least full body. I need to do more close-up action shots like this. Okay, that was a ramble. Let me tell you, the very obvious indicator of me going on a little bit too long is when I'm out of breath. Now, that's not just because I'm in this. I need to slow it down, okay? Here I'm working on the other pose, of course. I feel like I'm hearing voices. So her outfit's pretty cool. It's kind of like a ninja outfit. It's very fantasy tropey, the elements are all there. So yes, she has a class, she's a mage. And let me tell you, this comic is very personal. The whole concept behind this character is she has these deep insecurities, which I find so fascinating. So she likes to keep herself very hidden. She's always wearing this costume here when she's out in public. The only time she ever reveals her true form is when she's like behind closed doors on her own. Like, no chance of anyone walking in or anything. Now, I didn't read the full comic. I started book 2 not too long ago, and it's actually an ongoing series, so, there's a lot of lore that's expected to come soon around the corner. But as far as I know, it's just her who knows her true identity. Although, and I'm not going to spoil anything, she does get close with one individual, and I think things are kind of headed that direction. Most of my backgrounds, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I just kind of like throw some colors together, pick a gradient, and start just like experimenting. And this one especially, I got good results out of that, so I'm pretty happy. So you can see, this was a little bit ago. I kind of missed it while I was monologuing. But I realized that the outfit that I've drawn her in was only used for like a few scenes, a few panels. So I had to go in and just completely retcon the outfit that I already drew. Or at least parts of it, not the whole thing. Oh, I'm going to pass out. Holy shit. So now I'm going in and coloring. The way I color is I pause. Alright, so what I do is I go click around the negative space with the wand. The negative space is, anywhere that's not the foreground, or in this case, the characters. And then Clip Studio is really good at this, really good at like finding the silhouettes and everything. Clip Studio Paint. Did I just say Clip Studio? I think I'm losing brain cells in this thing. Anyways, oh my god. This is difficult, let me tell you. So I think I did like a vivid light layer, which sounds counterintuitive when you're like making shadows, and I don't remember exactly what layer. I think it was vivid light, it could have been hard light or something, but I basically just chose a dark reddish color, to complement the background, and I just basically painted in the entire scene with that color. And now I'm using the regular brush I use. I'm using the chalk brush, which gives things texture, but I have it on the transparency setting. So basically it's just erasing using that texture, if that makes sense. Oh god. Lord help me. So here I'm starting to kind of render. I just gave her a cheekbone. I didn't even say what race she is. That would kind of spoil things, but like you can already kind of see it. She's a cave elf, and in this universe, cave elves they're seen as villains. They're seen as problematic entities. This is kind of a source of her main insecurity, is kind of feeling like she's an other. So we just concluded with that first speed paint. And this is a two-parter because it's a pretty big project. All right, so now I think I'm pretty much there in the rendering phase. I'm adding some subsurface scattering is what I've heard it called, which is basically where on a face where light meets shadow, sometimes you'll get this phenomenon where you actually see the blood vessels in that intersection. Now I'm going about the hair. The hair is a little tricky. I don't really have a very thorough process. Right now you can see like the highlights, which you might think these look decent, but they don't show enough dynamic like lighting going on. It kind of just looks like she has highlighted sections of her hair. And by highlighted, I mean, of course, like dyed or bleached. But I go in and fix that. I'm going underneath those highlights and painting a little bit of shadow, and that gives the illusion that this hair isn't just this matte texture, it's actually a little glossy. It's actually a little metallic even. Now I'm just like kind of trimming down some of that harsh light because it was really looking like highlighted sections of hair. This goes on for a while, so I am gonna pass out in this thing, I swear. Oh, why am I doing this to myself? I'm like, my face is a freaking waterfall. Okay, so now I'm adding a little bit of ambient light bouncing off onto her skin. I'm a big fan of like multiple light sources, multiple hues interacting with each other. So a little bit of the background is kind of breaching in on that side of her face. And it only extends to that side of the face for one thing, because features like her nose are blocking that light from getting anywhere else, but also the direct light source, the main light source, as you can tell, is more vivid, so it prevents any other light from getting in. I achieved most of this dynamic lighting from literally just using a gradient and another one of those overlays. Maybe it may have even been the literal overlay blending mode. So now I'm just kind of making this like black, I don't know, what would you call this? Kind of looks like a symbiote or something. I was really trying to like emulate this feeling of corruption, because yeah, that's kind of like one of the main premises in this world is you can be corrupt by these entities called the Drath, and they basically echo your deepest insecurities. So that's kind of what's going on there. It's kind of showing two sides of the equation, where on the right, like the Drath is kind of breaching into her psyche and telling her things that she doesn't want to hear, like she's a failure and everything. On the left side, she's using her magic to harness these intense emotions. There we go. I'm adding way too much lore to this drawing here than there really is. It just looks cool. But yeah, that's kind of the idea, is she's harnessing her negative emotions, and who knows, she's like saving her friends or something. Magic is really cool. It's like, I don't really know the limits to her magic, and there is kind of some hints that she doesn't even know her limits. Like maybe there's like a lot more that she can do and she doesn't realize. Cannot wait to get out of here. There's got to be a better way to go about this. Here I'm adding eyes to this like dark mist that you see at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. This is also very symbolic of the Drath species or whatever. Like they have these glowing red eyes too. It's, you know, maybe it's a little overdone, but I think they do it justice. So there it is. Final results. I am very proud of this piece. I'm kind of shifting away from doing like just nonstop anthro stuff, and I'm actually delving a little bit more into fantasy content as of late, because it's kind of I wouldn't say it's my forte per se, but I have a long track record going into this stuff, and I miss it. I miss it so much. You know, I've kind of went knees deep into furry for the last who knows how many years, and before that I was drawing orcs and stuff, and well, there's the occasion that I draw my fantasy OCs every now and then, but I think I need to bring it back like full time, make it a big part of my brand. I'll be that like furry comic artist who definitely does not stick to furry. I used to actually call Mark my mascot, and back then it was because I was too afraid to say he was my fursona. But he really is like a mascot. I've got other fursonas. I've got Ike when I'm really wanting to engage with my furry audience. I think Mark is just a friendly, all-around, chill dude. And I think I'm going to put on the head and draw whatever the frick I want to draw. Does that work? Does that work, YouTube? I don't know. Cut me some slack, all right? Okay. Yeah, this was... I'm not gonna lie, this wasn't fun physically. This was miserable, but I'll make something out of it, and it'll be fun again. This sucks. Get me out of here. Whew. All right, let's do this again. Like, subscribe. Tell me if you want more of this content where I just kind of have a chill session going over my art process, keeping you up to date with what's going on in this noggin here. I literally did the cuckoo sign. Based. Based Rue out.